Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jen. Happy Friday, one and all. I'm so excited for the weekend. I hope you guys are too. So we're going to do another new project today, and we are going to be making a choker crystal dangle necklace using a split technique. So if you're new to my channel, welcome aboard. If you're a new beginning beader, you can follow along and learn this technique. It's not so advanced that you cannot grab onto this and make it your own. So I'm going to make this a techniques type of tutorial. For any of you out there that are not familiar with making a necklace that is a single strand, but we're splitting it with a dangle in the center, that is what we're going to be doing today. And if you are already familiar with this type of style and this technique and you want to follow along, that's great too. Maybe you'll find a little inspiration with beads and stuff like that. So welcome one and all. So let me show you an example of what we are going to wind up with. Let me pull my mannequin up over here. And so this is one that I made, and it's in these beautiful bicone faceted. They're like a green-ish with the silver spacers. And then I used the dangle that many of you just saw me unbox in that Black Friday haul I had. And if you do get the bargain bead box, we got that in the Falling Leaves collection box. And then I ordered some more of these crystals. They are insanely gorgeous. I'm so in love with these crystals. So I bought some more. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing. So the necklace is basically all one piece. Here, guys, I'm going to use the Beaded satin gold. It's in satin gold color, and I'm going to use the 49 strand 0.018 inch today. And the reason I'm using the 49 strand, for my fellow beaders out there, as you well know, 49 strand is the most flexible wire. And I thought that would be a good idea because these are such delicate beads. They're not very heavy. And so I really wanted some flexibility, but also it's a split design. So I really was thinking, 49 strand is probably the way to go. But if you do not have 49 strand and you've got 19 strand, I think that'll work too, you guys. And again, my fellow beaders out there, you can, use your judgment, but I think 19 strand or 49 strand will work really well. I'm using, again, the 0.018 inch. I think you could probably use 0.015, 0.018, or 0.019. To be honest, any three of those size wires will work. So I think that we can be flexible on the type of wire that we're using. But that's just what I'm using today. The other supplies we're going to need is, of course, I have a toggle clasp. We're going to be using 3 6mm jump rings. I have one head pin, and it has a ball on the end, and it's a 2-inch. I'm going to be using 2 wire guardians, 2 #1 crimp beads, and then some crimp covers to cover those up. We'll be using I think this is about a 20 to 22 millimeter hexagon clear crystal. It's really beautiful. That is going to be our center focal. And then we'll be using some 2 millimeter, 6 2mm clear crystals. They are faceted as well. 6 2mm clear crystals. And we'll be using 53 of these sky blue 4mm faceted bicone crystals and 54 of these are 4mm SST spacers in silver. So 54 spacers. If you have any kind of spacers laying around that are closer, like seed beads, even 80 seed beads would work, you're going to use 54. We'll use 53 of our bicones and then 6 of our little 2 millimeters. Okay, and those are your supplies. So let's just jump right on into it. I am going to pull my tape measure out here, and we'll start by cutting our wire. So I'm always, for a lot of you beginners, again, I'm making this a techniques tutorial. Um, so just so that you understand every little step I'm doing here, I like to always cut additional extra wire. You always want to cut extra and have more than less for good measure. So I am making a 16-inch choker. We should land right around 16 inches. So I just basically, I'll fold my wire over in half here, and I'll get to where I'm at, the 0 and then the 16. And, well, I can lay it straight too, because I was going to cut it in half. You know, you can fold it in half and then just cut a little bit above the 8, so maybe cut at the 10. But since I've got it laying out here, I'll just go ahead and I'm going to cut about 1.5 inches past 16 on each side. So I'm going to go to the 16. So I got a little bit extra there and then a little bit past the 0 down here. So I've got plenty of wire to work with. So I probably cut about, I don't know, probably about a 20-inch piece of wire. So like I said, give yourself room. You don't want to short yourself on your wire. You need plenty of room to work. Okay, and now we're done for that at the moment. And the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and string our focal. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this hexagon and I'm going to feed it on that headpin. Straighten my headpin out here. And I'm going to just put one of my blue bicones on. I don't think that's... Okay, I think that looks good enough. Okay, so that's what I have. And so now our focal is done. And what we'll do is now go ahead and feed that right on our wire. And then that's going to be our center focal. Okay, so now what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to feed on these little bicones, and we're going to put 3 on each side. And we're going to kind of alternate going back and forth to each side here of our necklace as we do this project. And I have my camera in really close focus here today, so my hope is that you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, whoops, well, those went on and came right off. Obviously, they're so tiny, 2 millimeter. Never mind the fact they're clear. So they are so tiny in there. It's like I can barely even see where the hole is to get those on my wire. Come on, little fellas. There you go. Now you're on there. Okay, and now this is what you have. Okay. So you see how I've done that there? I've just strung on. We made our little focal, and then we strung it right on, and then we put 3 crystals on each side. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do, this is where we do our split. Take the top of your wire, and you want to make it flush at the top. Okay? So we're flush here at the top, and basically, we're going to take 2 of our bicones, and we are going to feed them on both the wires. So feed both of the wires through your bicones. Okay, so there's 1 and then 2. Okay, so before I pull that down, you see how I have both of my bicones fed in between both of those wires. And again, try to stay flush here up at the top. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pull those bicones down. Okay, and now that we've done that, we will hold this part of the wire and we'll go ahead and push them down. And now look at, this is what you have. Look at how adorable this is. We made like a little circle. And oh my gosh, it's too cute, right? And so we're holding those down. We'll check our wire up here. Well, we're a little off, but that's okay because we cut extra. So now what you're going to do is, now this is where we're going to we're going to lay our necklace down, and we're going to split our ends. Now don't worry about them moving around or this loosening up. As we string, it will tighten itself up. That's why we're going to go back and forth to each side. So the next thing we're going to do, friends, is we're just going to start. I'm going to alternate. So I'm going to start with, because I have the bicones here, I'm going to start with a spacer, and then I'm just going to alternate between the spacer and the bicone all the way up on each side. That's my pattern. I'm just going to do a straight alternating one each of the bicone and the spacer pattern all the way on the entire necklace. And just so that you know, if you want to make sure you have it on right as you're stringing and getting near to the end of your bead run, you're going to be using 25 crystals on each side. So each side, now that we've fed on our focal, so we're not talking about that, I'm just talking about stringing up each side here, you'll end up with 25 crystals on either side. And the spacers, I think it's like around 50, I said 54, so it would be like, I think it's 22. So 22 spacers on each side. That's pretty much. Now, this is where you're going to want to lay it flat, and you need to grab a bead stopper. And what you're going to do is put that bead stopper really close to the edge of that last bead. Now what we're going to do, and we need to spread it out a little bit, just like you see me doing on the mat. And this is where you're wanting to kind of adjust at the top and pull down to where everything looks like it's all the way together at the bottom. So that's where we kind of want to split our wires out, and that's why you need that bead stopper. Okay, there we go. So now I pulled them all the way down here, so there's no gap of wire. And, you know, again, as you can see, I've got them split apart here, and I'm doing the same thing over here. Okay, great. And so now we've got the bead stopper flush on that last bead on this strand, and we have nothing showing through in terms of wire. Everything looks just like it should at the bottom here. Well, I got mine upside down, so let me just put it right side up and take a gander at it. Yeah, it looks great. And so grab a crimp bead, a wire guardian, and a crimp cover. Okay, so we'll feed on our crimp bead, and then we'll feed on our wire guardian. So we'll put that up the hole on one side, turn it up and around, over and down the horseshoe, and through the hole on the other side of the wire guardian. Okay, and then we'll feed a jump ring on that tail. On this step right here, take your jump ring, feed it on your tail. Okay, let it drop down into your tail. Okay, like this. And, oops. Then what you're going to do is grab your tail and feed it through the crimp bead and your first two beads. So when you're doing a necklace like this, I'm going to stop right there. When you're doing a necklace like this, you're actually finishing off both sides at the same time. So it's a little bit different than when we're tightening up our last side of a necklace. This we're tightening up each at independent of each other. Okay, so you are going to want to do it this way. This is the way to do it. Okay, so now I'm pulling that tail. Okay, and again, now I'm going to go down here again and double check. Looks like my beads moved a little bit, so that's fine. I'm just going to hold the top here with that jump ring, and I'll just pull it a little bit more. Just a tiny bit. You know, you want to have Make sure you have movement in your beads, but you also want them to be looking correct down here. Okay, so that looks great. Okay, and so now guys, you'll simply grab your chain nose and let's go ahead and crimp off that bead. So I'm just gonna squeeze that. Now you'll take and grab that wire guardian between your fingers and just squeeze it close, just like that. And we can get rid of our tail, so grab your flush cutters. And we can get rid of that tail. And we'll grab a crimp cover. Put that over the crimp bead. And that little jump ring does not want to stay out of my way. I'm trying to stay in the camera to show you guys. But man, he is just flinging all around. Okay, and then we'll grab our chain nose and slowly go ahead and close up your crimp cover. And just gently squeeze it from top to bottom until it's looking like another bead. And then it just looks like it kind of becomes part of your design. And also, you know, protects your crimps from wear and tear, just like the wire guardian protects our wire from wear and tear. And so we can actually finish that side off by opening up our jump ring, if I can find it. There it is. And so we'll grab 2 pair of pliers. Let's open up that jump ring. And we will slide our clasp on it. And then close the jump ring. And this side is finished. Okay, and that's what you have. Nice professional finish. Really, really cool. Okay, and so let's flip this around and do the same thing on the other side, and we're done. Didn't even take long, guys, about 30 minutes. Not bad, right? So this side is nice and done. And so we'll go ahead and remove your bead stopper and just hold that end where your beads are. And same thing, you're gonna wanna kinda, you know, split it apart like this, kind of like I'm doing, and we're just checking here to make sure that our beads are meeting all the way down and there's no gap of wire here. And that looks good, and we're gonna have to adjust it again in a second, possibly, once we put our findings on, but at any rate, you getting the hang of it now. So let's feed a crimp bead on, guys, and then we'll grab that wire guardian. You can let your crimp bead drop down on your wire, and same thing. We'll take and feed that wire up the hole on the wire guardian, up and around over the divot, which is like I call it the horseshoe, the top. Feed it down the hole on the other side, grab your tail, grab that other jump ring, and just feed it on there, on through that tail. Let that drop on down, and taking that tail, okay, now mine just went the way it was not supposed to go. Crimp bead went up there. Okay, just behave. So tedious. Okay, and we'll take that tail and we're gonna feed it through that crimp bead and the first 2 beads. If you wanna go through 3 beads, you know, that's fine too. You have total creative control, whatever you're comfortable with. I just like to give a little extra strength and durability by going through a couple of beads, and then we're just gently pulling that tail and our beads, and we're holding the jump ring up here, and our beads are starting to come together, and we're just leaving a tiny little gap. As you can see, they're up at the top. But before we really finish that, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna lay it down again and make sure that my beads look nice. They are not too scrunched together, but they are snug, and there's not any play down here, because I don't want anything showing down there. And then we are holding that tail and we are squeezing with our fingers, just that wire guardian. You'll just go right together really easily. We'll grab some chain nose, and if you have crimpers, guys, go ahead and use your crimpers, you know, whichever you've got. Either will work. I'm just using the chain nose today. Okay, and now we can get rid of our tail. So get your flush cutters and get right in there and cut your tail off. If you have anything poking out like I do right there, just shove it in there. A bead will grab it and it'll go bye-bye. So easy enough there. And we'll grab a crimp cover again. Let's cover up that crimp bead. So I'm just squeezing that crimp cover until it looks like another bead. And like I said, be patient, guys. Hang in there. You beginning beaders, you'll get it. Some of it's tedious, but just like riding a bike, right? Once you learn, you got it. And that's what we have. Okay, so now once again, we're going to finish that off. We'll grab a couple pair of pliers and open that jump ring up and put our other toggle on. We'll measure it out and see what we came up with, and we're all done. So I'll just put the bar part of my toggle, feed it on that jump ring, close up my jump ring, and we are all done, guys. We just made a beautiful, and we eliminated jump ring, so that's always great. When you eliminate supplies, nothing makes me happier than that. Less is more, that's for sure. And so that's what we have. So I'm going to put it this way, because I always like my open part of my toggle on the right side. I don't know why. But at any rate, that is what we have, you guys. Let me see if I can get that totally in the camera. Look at how pretty. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? And what a unique spin, right? A unique spin on just a single strand classic. And we didn't even need that many supplies. So I'll pull it up to the camera a little closer. Let me lay it out and see if we, with my count I gave you, properly got to a choker, which is exactly what I wanted. Let's see if we wound up where I wanted to be. So I'm going to measure from that silver bead here, not from my dangle. I'm going to measure from my silver bead. And let me see here. Okay, so from about right there, yeah, I'm right at the 8. So that is 8 and 8 is 16. So we're a perfect choker necklace. Perfect size. And let me show you just the back so you can see. Look at that finishing, you guys. Look at how professional, right? With those wire guards, the crimp covers, very nice professional finish. This will certainly be going up for sale in my store, along with the other one. I'll pull that one over here and show you. And look at that. How beautiful are those? You know, they're really, really super pretty. I mean, just darling, darling, darling is all day long. It's so pretty. So there's that guy. And then I'll just pull this up so that you can see very closely what we did. So we've got our dangle there from the headpin, using the headpin. And then in the center, we have the 3 little, I don't know why that's turning, there we go. See how we have a little circle of crystals, and then we've got the 2 bicones, and then we have the split. So the whole like dangle portion becomes part of the necklace as one piece. And I just think that is so gorgeous. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for my show and tell Saturdays. So until then, friends, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give me a like, thumbs up if you think I deserve it. You can always share my video, leave comments if you are so inclined of what you thought, or if you have any questions, hopefully I can answer. So be well, friends, and I'll see you tomorrow on Show and Tell Saturday.